So good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you're watching us from. This is yet another exciting episode of Young and Exceptional coming to you live on our YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe. This is your host, Collins Otas. And today we are in Kiambu County. We are talking to one amazing lady by the name Alice Wangari. She's a lawyer by profession. She's a businesswoman. I mean, what is this lady not doing? She is also an aspirant. In fact, she calls herself Mama County. She's the incoming women representative, Kiambu County. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the conversation with Alice Wangari. So welcome on set, Alice Wangari.
Thank you so much, Collins.
Wakili mwenyewe.
Asante sana. Yes, so first of all, I'd like to send a special shout out to my people in Kiambu, habari zenu moriega. So I am the one who has offered myself for the candidature to serve the people of Kiambu County as their next woman rep in the forthcoming general elections in 2022. I tell you, Collins, you know, it's been hectic, but you know what? I am loving each and every day I get to the ground because I learn new things, I interact with new people, and now I have even created a new family, you know, just from my interaction with the ground. Yes, and I am grateful for that.
Wow. So Alice, before we get to Kiambu, let's start with the national politics. Hustlers versus strugglers. And now we have the wheelbarrow versus the 6,000. Which side of the coin are you?
That's a difficult question to answer to begin with. But you know what I would say is that every side has its own merits. There is a case that they're trying to put forth. And I will tell you that the common denominator in each and every political discussion right now is the youth question. Because for a long time, Collins, and you will bear me witness, is that the youth have been sidelined when it comes to political discussions, when it comes to major policies, when it comes to, you know, political decisions. Most decisions are made by people who are outside the youth bracket, and therefore they do not feel the pain of the struggles of the youth. They don't feel the pain of those youth who wake up very early to labor and to seek even an extra coin. Right now, especially in Mount Kenya region, there is a question of the boy child not being marriageable, and most of them are even now turning into same-sex relationships because they say that they are challenged with extraordinary social expectations which they cannot meet, and therefore to have it easy they are now turning into same-sex relationships because there are a lot of allures and there are a lot of financial gains that come with that. So those are the questions that perhaps the political class and any presidential candidate would have wanted to discuss and have an open debate with the youth on how they can bring the youth on board to discuss issues that affect them and to find possible solutions. For one, I do not subscribe to the 6,000 shillings matrix because then when it comes to implementation, it is not sustainable. Because, for example, Collins, when we talk about giving 6,000 to every household that has unemployed persons, that means that we are going to dent the budgets of the ministries. And when you check every ministry, the majority of the budget is recurrent expenditure. So in effect, what that means is that we are promising people retrenchment and redundancy from their employment. And so it is a take and take scenario, because when those people are retrenched, they return now to unemployment, and then you still have to source for more money to give them the 6,000. So it is unsustainable. And remember, we just the other day we also had the demands from IMF that for us to effectually service our debts, we have to lay off part of our civil service. So then again, if we are clawing back to 6,000, that means that we have to lay out more civil servants, and therefore we're going to deal with more unemployment.
So Akili, are you saying that you're buying into the hustlers narrative because you are against the 6,000.
No, I'm not saying that, because even the hustlers narrative has its own disadvantage, being that it is not lending dignity to the decent struggles of the Kenyan youth. You see, when they tell us that kazi ni kazi, and then the symbol there is a wheelbarrow. You know, a wheelbarrow is an archaic tool of farming. It's an archaic tool of construction. And so I would have wished, for example, that their symbol would have been perhaps, you know, a computer or a laptop, something that is progressive. Because when you tell us kazi ni kazi, you're trying to tell the youth to fall for anything that comes their way. In this day and age, we are a progressive society. We are a progressive economy, Collins. We are actually, within this decade, between 2022 and 2032, we need to have a president who is going to manage to birth for us Vision 2030. Which is, of course, progressing us to being a second-class, middle-generating economy. And
Wakili,
yes.
I know you are a lawyer, so you can talk and talk, but I will not allow you.
It's all right.
Let me ask this question.
Yes.
And with all respect,
Correct.
with all due respect,
Correct.
Raila Ruto,
Yes.
which way?
No way. For now. One is because none of them has called the youth. None of them has shown willingness to engage the youth on a constructive debate on how we can partner with them to alleviate the challenges that are facing the youth. I do not subscribe to any presidential candidate who comes and holds roadside shows and excites the youth and does not propose any substantive solutions to the issues that are affecting the youth. For example, there was a Thanksgiving ceremony in Kiambu constituency which the deputy president attended. In Kiambu constituency, the prevalent issue that is facing the youth and is threatening their existence is the question of drug and substance abuse, unemployment, and alcoholism. I would have expected, for example, the deputy president to stand with rage and say that I am aware that there are challenges facing the youth regarding this and this and this, and this is how we're going to tackle them under my presidency. He would have rolled out a Marshall Plan on helping the youth in that area so that they get into empowerment programs that are going to take them away from the scourge of drugs and alcoholism.
So no Raila, no Ruto for now.
For now, no. Until they call the youth and we jointly craft a program where the youth are going to be involved in their presidency. This time we are saying it is either the youth are on the table or we dismantle that table.
Wow. It's either the youth are on the table or the table is dismantled.
Yes.
But somebody has been climbing the mountain. Somebody has been doing it for the last 4 years.
Yes.
Somebody started recently. You are from the mountain.
Yes, ma'am.
If elections are to be held today, who has climbed the mountain?
So I am going to give my honest opinion, not that I support it, but that is what is on the ground. And the ground as at now in Mount Kenya is angling more towards William Ruto than any other presidential candidate. I would say for a fact that there are so many other presidential candidates, but the problem is that they have not yet come out openly so that they can interact with the residents of Mount Kenya. There is still time, but then they are also invited to take chance and take advantage of this remaining time so that they can also come and interact with the residents of Mount Kenya. Because like for me, I have been sampling opinions here and there, and people tell me that, Madam, we're going to vote for Ruto because we have not seen anybody else come and seek after our votes. And therefore, people are going to vote for him basically for lack of no alternative option. Yes, but options are out here. So I would appeal to those other candidates to come out strongly and interact with the residents of Mount Kenya.
Wow. So, Baba supporters, if you're listening, somebody knew the secret before you came on board. But anyway, moving on. There's a lot of fragmentation in Mount Kenya. We have Moses Kuria with Chama cha Kazi. We have Kiunjuri with the TSP. We have Martha Karua with Na Kenya. Justin Muturi entered the fray the other day with DP. And there's Mwangi Wairia is also vying with this party with the ng'ombe sign, symbol. I mean, what's happening? Everybody wants to be president in Mount Kenya. Is it that we are being fragmented as the Mountaineers for somebody's advantage?
What I would say is that what we are experiencing right now in Mount Kenya is a very unique political scenario, because we have never been in any political dispensation where we are not producing a presidential candidate. And going by that means that the Mount Kenya field is viable, it is fertile, and it is fallow, meaning that now it is going to be unplowed. We are not going to produce for the first time one of our own to go for the top seat. And that, for example, is what is also speaking damnation to, a robust party like the Jubilee Party. So then with the diminishing popularity of some of those big parties that have produced presidential candidates, then comes in the mushrooming of the small parties. But according to me and my own analysis, the leaders of these parties are just fronting themselves out so as to seek bargaining platforms, with the big boys, the big political parties. And that, I would say, is quite welcome, because then they're also trying to put Mount Kenya on a high pedestal so that nobody just comes and cashes in, our votes and cashes in our goodwill without promising to give us something substantive in government. Remember, Mount Kenya has always been in government, and they have this fear that if somebody else from another region takes over power, they might be, edged out into the political cold. So I would believe that these political parties are going to try and insulate Mount Kenya from being edged into the political cold. And remember that Mount Kenya also is an economic basket. It's an economic powerhouse in Kenya. And so even as we have those political negotiations, at the back of our minds, we must also consider the economic robustness of this region. We also have Honorable Kabogo's Tujibebe Party, which is also very much alive and around, especially in Kiambu County.
Wow. Before we get to Kiambu, we cannot ignore Waiguru. She jumped ship the other day to UDA, and then after that we are told EACC are after her. Is this a politically castigated arrest, or it's just a matter of corruption trying to find a way to hide in UDA?
I would say that the timing is very suspect, and everybody is out to see. Even the dust has not settled after she joined UDA, and then EACC came calling. You see, we must migrate from a system whereby our constitutional institutions are being used by the political class to settle political scores. Therefore, whether, the arrest is meritorious or not, but the timing itself speaks of, suspected political scores that are being settled by some imaginary system somewhere. And we must discourage that at all costs. And these institutions must be given their own respect. They must be given their own confidence to execute their duties without answering to a master somewhere.
Yeah, so having talked about Waiguru, I think it is now time to narrow down to Kiambu politics. Yes. You want to be the women rep.
Yes.
By all standards, you're a young person.
Yes, I am.
There is a matter of financial muscles involved. Yes. We have the incumbent involved.
Yes.
We have the Moses Kuria factor in Kiambu,
yes,
the Kabogo factor in Kiambu,
correct,
the Ndindi Nyoro factor, not Ndindi Nyoro, but Dr. Nyoro factor in Kiambu. And we also have the Kenyatta's family, I mean, what are the stakes for you? Do you think you stand a chance?
I stand every chance. One, because I am a youth, and therefore I represent a solid constituency of the young people of Kiambu, who are the majority of the voters. They are the disgruntled population. They are the disparaged and the discouraged constituency. And right now, even as you can see, the national politics is tilting and angling towards the youth, so is the county politics. We must get down to zeroing in on the youth question. And that is why there are so many youth out here who have offered themselves for candidature for various political posts. I am out here. Currently, I am meeting the electorate on a one-on-one without backing of any political party. And when time comes, we will choose. I will ask my people on the ground and I will seek their advice on which political party and which political alliance that they would like me to join so that I can serve them best. Which political alliance resonates with their needs, resonates with with their aspirations as the people of Kiambu. But as at now, we are interacting on a one-on-one. I would like them to know me as Alice, not Alice backed by any political party or any political alliance.
Now, Alice, talking of alliance and political parties, the strugglers movement.
Yes, the strugglers.
I saw you at the forefront in strugglers movement. Yes. What is your take? I mean, and the symbol, by the way, it's related to one presidential candidate. The symbol betrays the ideals of the movement, in my view. What is this strugglers movement all about?
Well, I would first like to debunk the thinking and the perception that people have had that the symbol is aligned to one presidential candidate. That in itself is not true. You see, the R in itself represents the reality of the struggles. Every Kenyan, you and I included, are strugglers. We are struggling with various issues. We are struggling with economic empowerment. We are struggling with tribal fragmentation. We are struggling with lack of capital to expand or even initiate our businesses. We are struggling, with our societal issues. I have told you about, the societal challenges in Mount Kenya. We are struggling with a myriad of challenges, lack of cohesion. We are struggling with divisions. We are struggling with so many other issues, political party mambo jumbo and all that. And so the strugglers movement, me being a founding member, the ideals behind this movement are lending dignity to the basic struggles of the basic youth of this country. I know for a fact that the youth are undergoing challenges when it comes to remuneration in labor. We need to lend dignity to the remuneration in labor, the laboring youth. For example, in this Kiambu County, we have the tea plantations in Kiamba constituency, Kawaida. We have tea plantations in Limuru. We have coffee plantations in Gatondo North and South. We have sisal plantations in Thika. We have pineapple plantation at Del Monte. Those youth are underpaid. Those are the discussions that we are supposed to be angling towards. We have unemployed youth. We have youth who are struggling. They cannot access Uwezo Fund, and even the Uwezo Fund itself is not enough for them as startups. The youth who are in SMEs, they are challenged by those strangling bureaucracies when it comes to taxation, when it comes to licensing. If they want to do inter-county trade, they are struggling with licensing because you have to obtain a license from one county. When you go to trade in another, you have to obtain the license in that other county.
But Wakili, when the stragglers movement was launched,
yes,
the internet was awash with so many connotations, and more so these connotations were towards the negative end. And I will give you an example.
Yes.
I remember the famous, I want to call him a famous tweeter or a tweet guy,
Yes.
Saying that if these are the faces representing stragglers and representing youths, people who have been in the youth space, in fact, if it is a matter of age, they are past the youth age. These are the people who are championing this stragglers movement. And here you're presenting yourself as a youth candidate, but the people whose ideals you are fronting do not, in reality, correlate to the reality of the youths on the ground. I mean, let's face it, I will not mention names, but some of these guys, they're people who have the financial muscle. They're people who have, some of them are even secretary generals of some very popular parties in this country. and some of them are outright about the presidential candidate they're supporting. Then here you are telling us that the strugglers movement is for the young people. Really?
Yes, yes. Remember, the strugglers movement is a conglomeration of people who ascribe and people who are members of various political parties. It is not a political outfit in itself. It is just an avenue for the youth to discuss the issues that speak to their souls. And remember, the strugglers movement is an assembly of youth. Do not dwell on the faces of them, but dwell on the ideologies behind the movement in itself. The people who are there, yes, I agree, some of them are beyond that, but we are partnering so as to speak the voice of the youth. In fact, it is a privilege for them to have somebody like me, because truly I am within the youth bracket age, and therefore right now I am taking the front line, and then they are following. But we are actually partnering with them because they have worked in these youth spaces. These are people who have worked in youth offices, and therefore they really understand the policy challenges that are facing the youth, and they know how we can tackle that from a policy angle. For example, we wrote a petition to the IEBC and we presented it to the chairperson of the IEBC, seeking for an extension of the voter registration deadline, because so many struggling youth out here have reached out to us and they have told us that they are unable to register as voters because, one, they cannot access or they cannot collect their ID cards. There is an inadvertent delay at the office of the registrar of persons, and therefore that is something that is beyond, it's beyond their reach. It is beyond their intervention, and therefore we spoke to the IEBC chairperson and we requested if he could have, the necessary financial capacity to extend this exercise by at least 2 weeks to 1 month, so as to enable the youth to register as voters, because these are the very youth we are speaking for, and therefore we cannot speak for their struggles, we cannot speak for their challenges, yet we do not have them on board as potential voters.
All right, I think I want to say I wish you well with the strugglers movement.
and I invite you and your people to join us. It is a movement on course, it is a movement on progress, and we are going to deliver the youth of this country from the shackles of political misuse, from the shackles of destitution, from the shackles of hopelessness and helplessness, and from the shackles of conflict with state agencies like the police, the state law enforcement agencies.
All right.
Yes.
All right. As we draw towards the end of the show, I want us now to narrow down to Kiambu politics. Kiambu politics. And Nyoro is saying turn of fresh. There's Django from Thika. There is Wamatangi, the senator, who just the other day launched a campaign drive with so many vehicles and what have you. And I know there's so many other people who are also eyeing the same seat. If elections were to be held today, who would carry the day?
That is a hard tell question as at now, because remember, the ground has not yet been fully cultivated by these candidates, just as in the case of any other political post. So it is early days for us to tell. I wish all the best to all the candidates. May the best person win, and I look forward to partnering with the person with the high stakes. The person whom the ground is going to ask me to partner with is really going to be the governor candidate who I will partner with to work together for the vision of Kiambu. All of them are my friends. All of them I have interacted with them. They are people with good vision for Kiambu, and I believe that this time Kiambu is set to get somebody who minds and cares about the welfare of Kiambu. And this time the voter in Kiambu is woke, and they have the ears on the ground, and they need somebody who can participatorily engage them.
Wow. I know we've mentioned him, but Moses Kuria is one of the most intelligent politicians we have in this country. He has contributed so much to our the bills at the treasury and what have you, in terms of his economic understanding of the government financial transactions. He also happens to come from Kiambu County. He has a party by the name Chama cha Kazi. Na pesa. What is the need for Moses Kuria? I mean, if you go to Nyanza now and you mention Moses Kuria, and then you mention maybe Dr. Nyoro, people will know Moses Kuria than Nyoro. What is it with Moses Kuria and Kiambu County politics?
Simplicity. Moses Kuria has actually mastered the art of speaking to the souls of the people of Kiambu, and not only Kiambu, but the larger Mount Kenya region. You saw that he fielded candidates even in Murang'a, and they won the by-election. Now, the other day, he fielded a candidate in Meru, Kiagu Ward, and that was a front runner. Moses Kuria is simple. I admire his style of politics. It is simple and basically speaks to, the native people of that society, and in this case, the Mount Kenya society. Well, he has been unwell, and I thank God, because now there are reports that he will soon be discharged from hospital, and he's even set to hold, a Thanksgiving rally sometime in Juja, and I wish him all the best. There are also, there's also information flying here and there that he might be interested in a top seat here in Kiambu County. And I like the fact that Moses Kuria opened the eyes of the people of Mount Kenya, and that is when he said that, guys, wait a minute. Why are we emptying our votes into one basket without us also seeking negotiations? We cannot go to the dowry ceremony, being passengers in the groom's vehicle. Yeah? Because then when we get to the dowry, the groom will be like, look at them, they're poor. They cannot even afford their own vehicle. I'm the one who ferried them to the dowry. So then the groom's family is going to be disdainful of the bride. And so he is trying to lend decency to the bride. He's trying to lend, value to the bride. And Mount Kenya is now the bride whom everybody is seeking. And so I think it's a good opportunity, but I would fault him for one thing. And that is, when there was that fallout between the president and the deputy president, they were very quick to rush into the then called Tanga Tanga movement. Why couldn't they negotiate at that time? Because you see now, when you're already married and then now you're backtracking to ask for bride price, and you're asking for negotiations with the groom, with the groomsman, it doesn't augur well, because the groomsman has already known a few secrets that you have been hiding. And so now, even if you are negotiating, you'll be negotiating from a weaker perspective.
Wow. I think we need to end this show. But before we end this show, Njeri Bakari, a good friend of yours. I know the two of you have worked together for a while. And she's also going for women rep. She's a nominated MCA. You're going for women rep in Kiambu County. Can't you guys just agree on one person to carry the flag, and then we sort this thing out?
Well, yes, it's good to agree, but remember, right now everybody has their own aspirations, and right now I have said the ground is fertile, it's untilled, so let everybody, go their way and seek their own support and their own votes, and then, we'll meet Ukombele. But that said, I wish her all the best. She's a strong contender. I have seen what she's been doing on the ground. And I think this time, there's nothing that is stopping the youth really. And I believe the next woman rep for Kiambu should be a young person, because even now we have seen an increase in, youth as residents of Kiambu County. So I wish Njeri all the best. I will look forward to, interacting with her, and even in future, whatever happens, we are still friends. I often say that siasa ni sera, watu ni marafiki. I wish her all the best.
Wow. Siasa ni sera, watu ni marafiki. Njeri Bakari, we are coming for that interview because you need to give us your side of the story. Are you still friends? So politics has created enmity. So when you get that call from us, please respond. We are coming. Now, as we close the show, I want you to look at this camera and just talk to that young person out there and just tell them something about youth and politics in this country, and how to go about it even as we draw to the 2022 general elections.
Okay. I am speaking to the young generation, the young population of Kiambu County. Nyinyi ni mbogi yangu, na huku nje tumecheki badaration. Mazee hakuna do. Hata tunasafa sana kupata kiruma. Hatuwezi hata pata ya mjengo. Huku nje tunamalizwa na nenge. Masense pia wao kuna vile wanatuchezea kabaya. Na round this tumesema sisi hatubebwi kwa lori. Tumesema round this wale mamokoro na mafadhela wenye wako kule kwa zile ngazi za juu za siasa, watuachie pia sisi tukule kubwa, au ni aje wasi. So juu ya hiyo story, sisi kama youth tumejitolea ndio tuwapatie voice. Nyinyi wenyewe pia ndio mtakuwa wadosi wetu, na mwezi kwa wadosi wetu kama mjajichoresha kupiga kura, kwa sababu hii job lazima tutaifanya na tufanye kazi safi. Kwa hivyo mimi ninawa-urge mtokelezee. Manze, endeni karibu na hiyo police station yenye iko karibu na wewe, endo ujiandikisha kupiga kura, kwa sababu hii shughuli tutaifanya clean kama mmejiandikisha kupiga kura, na hiyo siku mtokelezee. Mimi najua huku Kiambu mazee kuna story mob sana zinawasumbua. Kuna issue ya madre, manze kuna vile wasee huku wanachapanga flash kila siku, morning mangware pale Kiamba Joma youth wamefinish. Hizo stories zote manze ninawasikia, ninawafeel, na mimi nawapenda sana. Na mimi kama sistemu mkubwa, hizo stories zote ninajua na tutashughulikia tu mdogo mdogo. Mimi nataka nyinyi mpate mawera, mpate mamboka za kijii, na mimi ni ule mrembo wa kijinda. Make sure mmepata hizo mamboka za kijii manze. Tu invest na sports huku hivi kwetu Kiambu. Si story na futa pekee, kuna sports mob tunaweza do huku. Jumi najua na nina believe that potential kubwa sana inalign na my youth, na hiyo potential ikikuwa tapped, economy ya hii nchi na pia economy ya county yetu itainuka. So pamoja sana, big up Awol and my youth, na wapenda sana.
Wow, tumekuwa na mrembo wa kijii kutoka Kiambu County na mboka ni za kijii. Yani mnasikia tu yani. This can only come to you on Young and Exceptional. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Click that button up there so that when the next wonderful, amazing episode comes up, you're notified. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.